You can't just be 100% honest, and you feel like you have to tiptoe through conversations and select the right words and really bite your tongue a lot of times. That's not exactly friendship in my definition.
Right. Me neither. Same. It's when they give you that empty pit in the stomach of, did I do something wrong? Why are they ignoring me? Why are they being mean? Why are they being dismissive?
We're so happy Darian's back.
So excited. Glad to be back here, ladies. I missed you on my excursion to Vermont. And now we're going to talk about our favorite friends that we want to hit the eject button.
I wouldn't even say favorite. I would say we are going to help you identify a toxic friendship.
Yeah.
Because there are toxic friendships out there. You have to figure out which ones they are, and then you have to emancipate those friendships.
And it gets harder the older you get because you end up building more and more friendships. And sometimes you'll have somebody that's been in your life your entire life, and saying sayonara is not easy. And I do not pretend to have any ease doing it, but the tools are available. So we're hopefully going to help ourselves identify a little bit better and kind of talk and walk through it with you guys today on our episode.
Yeah, I think people come into your life for that time frame, for certain parts of your life, and they're your besties. And then whether you outgrow them or it's just time to move on, or they do something shady and you're like, oh my God, are you really my friend? Because you completely changed. You were my bestie, and then you did something that I don't want to be part of. And once you realize it, you're like, it's time to move on. Boom, fired.
Friendship should be easy. I mean, it's a gift. It should not be a ton of work. I mean, absolutely, you should work, and it's a give and take situation where I come to you, you come to me. Let's make plans. Let's follow through with our plans. Let's be together. Let's, do nice things for each other. But when it becomes work and it doesn't feel good, and, sometimes you just walk away like, what the heck just happened to me? That's when you really need to start kind of evaluating, because as you get older in the 50 plus club, your time is really valuable. And it's like, you want a sure bet. I want to hang out with people that make me feel good about myself, that I love, that I want to make them feel good. It's like this beautiful mutual thing. And everybody's a winner and everybody is gaining from the relationship. I do not want to spend time with people that drag me down, that bring drama to the table, that are exhausting. They're energy suckers. And, I
like that word, energy sucker. That's a great word, by the way.
I mean, there are energy suckers out there. They come in and just steal all the energy in the room. And you're just like, whoa, I can barely get enough oxygen to breathe.
Yeah. But I have friends, some of my favorite ones, like my friend, Jennifer Medlin, Jennifer Schaefer. It's your friend. You haven't seen her in years. And all of a sudden you pick up the phone and it's kind of like you left off 2 years ago. You pick up right where you left off.
Comfortable.
And it's so comfortable. And it's, you get that warm feeling. She makes you feel good. Like those are the friends you have a call. Haven't skipped a beat. Like I have a friend. Oh yes. I'm so excited. Haven't seen you. Like, hey, I'm moving somewhere. Oh, I support you. And at what point though, do you know that your friend is toxic? At what point is it, should I give up on this friendship? Because I always try. I don't know. I'm kind of friends with everyone and it's great. And I'll give my heart and soul to people. And then a few people are fun sponges and they suck the life out of you. But at what point is it that you realize, oh, these people should probably not be in my life? At what point is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, there's so many red flags.
There's so many red flags.
I mean, one of the things that I have a really hard time with once I became a parent is if I don't like your kids, and I love kids. I mean, I am like a Pied Piper, but if your kid is a brat or disrespectful or just whatever, if I can't tolerate your children, I don't think I can tolerate you. I just have to be on somewhat a very similar page of parenting for me to even actually respect you. Yeah. So that's like a big deal breaker for me is rotten kids.
1000%, because all the coaching that we've collectively done, it's like you see very quickly, like you kind of can't hide it. It can't be hidden. Like adults, they can kind of go on social graces and they can know what is socially acceptable and what they should be doing. But when their child is somebody who, like, to me, huge one is like when they talk back to their parent or coach, or with a level of like we're on the same page. It's like no. We're not on the same page. You build respect, you build trust in every relationship. And I think that that's like one thing that with the kids, you can identify it in a heartbeat.
Yes. And one of her friends are calling right now, so she's got to pick up the phone.
But I'm not picking it up.
That's one of the toxic ones.
That's the hard part. Is what I see too is if you're friends with the parents and you had like this great relationship and it was fun and the kids were always part of it, and then all of a sudden you have not a falling out, but you kind of just graduate from the family, or something weird happens and you kind of push them away, but the kids still want to be together. That's the hard part, because when you go to a play date and you drop off, you have the parents who are like, hey, come on in and let's hang out and let's have some drinks. And this is great. Let's catch up on the day. And the only thing you want to do is like drop your kid and take off. That's another hard part when you lose the friends, when you all were one big happy family.
Well, the hard thing is you can't get involved in your kids' drama either. So if you have parents that are overly involved in their children's day-to-day everything. I used to have a friend that would, as soon as her kid would come out of school, she'd be like, who did you sit with at lunch? Who's having a play date after school? Did you get invited? And it was that type of a relationship where it was a deal breaker. She was my friend, but she was such a nut job with her mom, with her own child, that it constantly caused drama within the kids. I let the kids figure it out. I don't want to get involved in their arguments. Whatever happens, let them work it out. That's how you become, you use your people skills. You learn how to communicate. But if a parent gets involved and is always trying to kind of manipulate, but also is too involved in like what this one said and who got invited to this and whatever, it's just a recipe for disaster. So I learned very quickly, the ones that are micromanaging every aspect of their kids' lives, not my friend.
No, well, that's a different way of parenting too. Yeah. And that goes back to parenting.
And my children actually were also very turned off by that child, because that child was the one that was looking to perpetuate drama. And this is where we would say, hey, you can't get invited to everything. You can't be a part of everything. But the parents that think their kids should be included in everything, that's a huge problem. And the parents feel the same way,
right?
Yeah. On the adult level. So strike one.
Yeah. Oh, well, you invited this person over and had a play date and you didn't invite my kid. So now I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to talk smack about you to everybody. Like, wait a minute. Kids are just having a good time and they just want to be together. They're in the same classroom or they're in the same sports field. It's hard because it's a tricky part, because when your kids are together with other kids from their class or on the field, not over, but
yeah,
go.
Little clip. With the kids and the parents, listen, you grow up, right? You don't just like change. Like a lot of times who you were at 15 is very similar to what you're going to be at 25 or 35. So the way you handle a lot of those relationships, you're taught by your parents, right? So if the parent's not good at friendships and can lead in that toxic direction, they're teaching their children like the same way of being, right? So that makes it really complicated. But I think that getting back to what we're trying to get to with like what are the flags? Like, we talked about this a little, and it's like, well, are you better after you've been with them? Like, are you a better version of yourself? Like Farley and I were saying, like, that's like a good indicator for me. Like, does my cup feel filled up after I'm with you? Do I feel like, and I got something out of the relationship, but it was like a good, give and take of like what's going on in your life and what's going on in my life, and nobody's dominating the conversation and nobody's feeling like depleted. Like you said,
it's a give and take.
Sometimes, there could be a friend that comes into the mix and talks incessantly about themselves and doesn't ask you one thing about your life. They don't ask you, how are you doing? What's going on with your kids? It's all about them. And that's when you feel depleted. And it's like, wow, you just came in and you took all the oxygen up in my entire house and it was all about you. And I don't think you asked me one thing about myself.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have no problem being a great listener, but it needs to be a two-way street.
Totally.
You know, that's the type of friendship that's exhausting.
For me, I always love hearing about everyone. How's your day? What's going on in your life? Like, people ask me, I'm like, okay, great. But I love hearing about people and how are your kids and the successes. Sometimes though, you have the friends that you hear are all in and then they're talking like smack behind your back to everybody else. But
flag.
But right in front of you, they're your best friends. Hey, you want to go do something great? I'm like, sure. Because it's just the way it is. So the toxic flags are out there and it's trying to say, hey, do you want these people in your life? No matter if they're saying nasty, negative things about you behind your back, or do you just cut them off? And I don't know. I don't think you need that many friends when you get to our age. You're not taking numbers.
Backstabbers. I have zero tolerance rule. I mean, truly.
I mean, I barely have enough time in my day for the people I want to hang around with. Like, why am I going to spend my time with people that deplete me? Like,
and guess what? It can be quality over quantity. I don't need 500 friends. I'm lucky enough to say that I actually do have, a really big group of friends that I consider to be very real friends. I have real, true friendships, but I will ixnay the quantity for quality.
Totally.
And I think when we're younger, it's like you want to be friends with everybody. You want to please everybody. You just kind of want to be like Miss Popular. You want to have a lot of people in your life. But as you get older, you realize you just need people that you can go to for anything and everything. You want to laugh with somebody, you've got your person. You want to cry, you've got your person. You want to be honest and hear somebody really tell you the hard to hear truth. I want somebody that's going to look at me and say, you know what? I don't think so. Or I don't agree with you. And, I'm worried about you. Like, you need a sounding board, not just in good times, but in bad times and in reality times. And, I need my people to keep me in check. They're my family, my framily. I love that word because my friends are my family.
Yeah.
I'm an only child. So, I've got two sisters here now. And it's important to me. And my husband says, oh, geez, Farley, you're like an open book. You tell everybody everything. Well, I am an honest person, and that's my therapy. I don't see a therapist. I've never seen a therapist, but my therapy is being really honest, and I don't hold anything in. I kind of reveal everything because I'm not ashamed of, awful things have happened to me. I've made really bad decisions, but I have grown from them and I've gotten great advice from my people that I can lean on.
Yeah. My therapy is going for surf or ski. I grew up not really talking about it too much and talking it out. Shocker.
Shoving it under the rug.
And then I forget about it, write it in my journal. I'm like, okay, hey, move on. Want to go drinking? No, but no, your friends are just what make you feel good. Like, I love my friends. I have some of my best friends, aside from you guys, are across the country. Sandra, I'll pick up a phone and go, I'm coming to California, and she'll hear my travel bag, click, click, click. We always laugh. It was clickety clack of my Dakine wheelie bag showing up at her doorstep. And she'd look and she'd be like, want to go surfing? I'm like, yeah, let's go surfing. She knew that was just, all right, let's get in the water. And, of course I would talk to her about things, and it just makes you feel good, and you miss them. And you send now with text messaging, it's like you send a little emoji or a photo and she's there. But you have some of my other friends that you kind of call and you go visit, and they make you feel bad, and they make you feel really bad. I went on a trip, went really out of my way, and one of my friends, I don't really get too involved. I'll give people my heart and soul, but after a while, someone would say, that person's really beating up on you. I'm like, what? Didn't really think about it. And then more and more like, wow, I can't believe they're really harsh to you and they're steamrolling you. I'm like, what? And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess they really are. And it's just they were the bossier ones and kind of feel bad. And my last trip, I finished and I left, and then I just went radio silent. I said, I'm out. You just cut it off. Because as soon as you send a text or engage, then they're back in your life. And it was hurtful. But then all of a sudden you feel better. I feel better and lighter. I'm not stressed and feeling bad about myself for something I didn't even know I was feeling bad about.
If you feel used, if you feel like you don't enjoy the time that you spend together, if you make excuses about answering the phone, you see that they're calling and you kind of don't want to pick up the phone.
Red flag.
If they embarrass you publicly, if they have behavior that, just kind of scares you, or you've outgrown that behavior, red flag. I mean, there are real red flags.
Yeah.
If you give more than you get, if you feel like you're the giver and you're always giving, and you're never really on the receiving end, red flag. If you don't know why you're friends.
I was going to say that. Why is that person your friend? I don't know. What do you get out of it? Not that you need to get something out of it, but do you ever go and say, that one time with my friend I was talking about, thought to myself, well, why is she my friend? We've been friends since college, but why are we friends now? And
sometimes you just don't
ask yourself
the same things in common, and you do, like you mentioned earlier, you outgrow people. And people,
or it's an ebb and flow too. Sometimes people come into your life and then they'll go out of your life, and maybe it's because you were in a place or they were in a place, because like we said, a relationship is that because it requires two people giving energy, right? And that's how you have any good relationship. And if that always feels like it's 90-10 one way, that relationship will be really hard to maintain, right? It's not always going to be 50-50, right? There's plenty of times that like Darian or Farley will need to talk more than I'll need to talk. I'm at that moment where I'm just like, just listen. You just are a passenger in the vehicle. You don't always have to be driving the bus. So I think that, when people recognize that it's going to be give and take, and that sometimes you need to just connect and say hello just to do just that. Like there doesn't always have to be a reason in a good relationship and a good friendship. I don't think it's not like there's not always an ask. It's like there's certain people that you'll like, they reach out to you and you're like, okay, here it comes. Something else is there's something else behind it. It'll manifest itself in a very short time, I'm sure. And it's usually I'm 9 times out of 10 spot on.
Well, that's why they say it's all the street signs in New York are one way.
I just feel like if you have a friend that makes you feel, I don't know, they get jealous if you are friends with other people. I mean, I can't.
Red flag.
I can't be friends with somebody that just like exclusively wants like mono e mono. I like a variety of people. Everybody brings something different to the table. And I have an eclectic group of friends that cover all the bases that I need. I've got, some of my friends that I really do athletic things with, and I really enjoy them athletically. And then I've got people that I can do absolutely nothing with and have the best time ever. And I've got people that, I could travel with, like unbelievable travel companions. And it would be like a seamless situation. I mean, there's so many different layers to a friendship. If you can actually travel with someone and find someone that you can do absolutely nothing with and have a great time, and you don't ever even have to think twice before you speak with them because you're not being judged, you've hit the jackpot.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you definitely have your friends. Well, I have a whole group of friends that are my non-athletic friends who I absolutely love, and they're in the fashion business. So, always talking fashion. But then you have your friends, the same thing. Oh, your friends you want to go on a surf trip, friends you want to go skiing with every day. And then there's your friends you want to go on a ski trip with. Totally different.
Sure.
Ones that you go that you have your kids come because the kids love each other and you just love that environment. So it's great. I love that all of us have shared that.
You can go into New York City and go out with.
Which I can't wait.
Ooh, when's that happening? When's that happening?
Let's go.
I mean,
we should be there right now.
Totally. We should be drinking cocktails. Next episodes, we're going to start crushing cocktails because I'm back from Vermont. So
Yay!
yay.
We're going to discuss
with my friends.
music lyrics, even though we're all like, the three of us are major music heads and love music and variety of music. But wow, these lyrics are insane.
I just went to Olivia Rodrigo with my 9-year-old. So
yeah,
we'll talk about, I can't wait to talk about that. So different than old school rap, but it's great. I mean, just when I walked in here today, I haven't seen my girls. And even though we were far away on Texas and doing the show I was in Vermont and you're in Jersey, it's just coming and seeing you. It just made me all warm and happy. And like, you're my besties, you're like family.
That's what makes this so fun.
That's what friends are about. And they make you feel good. And
in
like,
good times.
I'm going to call Sandra today. I'm going to text Beef and I'm going to send my other friend like a dirty emoji. And it's like I love having like my hands on hellos to my friends around the world. And I still do keep in touch with so many of my friends from traveling all over the world for years doing what I was doing. Still my special friends. You just send a text, or if you have a friend who just reached out and say, hey, I'm in New York City, you want to have a cocktail? Like, it's really far, but maybe, let's do it.
Well, I have a question for you both though. When we were talking about this a little bit, we were talking about like breaking up with like friends. Like, have you guys ever actually like, because I don't think I actually have ever broken up, like said the words per se. It's like you just like retreat a little bit back and forth. But one of the things that somebody said was, who did I break up with?
Dun, dun, dun.
I can't use the name, can I?
No. Okay. But I never said we're not friends anymore.
You didn't have to.
But that's what I'm saying.
We're writing it down. We're writing a name.
I guess sort of. But yeah, well, maybe. But I don't know that I ever like really told her like we're not friends anymore.
I don't know if you have to say that. Okay. Like I saw an article, breaking up with a friend. When is it time? And it was very good advice. It's have a third party.
But that's what I mean. Have you ever done that?
I've talked to my very good friends about.
No, but like, have you ever sat down? Have you ever sat down with like a friend, like specifically, and said, you know what?
Yes.
Until you fix X, Y, or Z, or until I stop feeling like lose my number.
I have.
Really? See, I've never sat with a friend. Well, I guess it's giving your friends counseling.
I sat down in a comfortable couch and we had a nice conversation about it. I think the gist of the conversation that I had was, I can't do this anymore. You have made me feel like I have zero boundaries in our friendship. You can't just walk in the door unannounced. You can't just call 24/7, and you can't just expect that I'm your one and only person. Like I'm just not capable of giving you what you want. And I feel like I'm constantly letting you down.
Sounded like a stalker.
It sounded like a stalker. Yeah.
I mean, when you start feeling like you are letting somebody down all the time and you can't give them enough and you can't give them what they need.
Or my husband.
Boiling a bunny went close.
Boundaries are a big thing.
It's hard.
There's also ways that you can slowly fade away and not be as available, and suddenly do it that way if you don't want to have the hard, conversation. It just depends on the nature or the personality of the person.
But you have to make sure the personality is strong, because you tell someone, hey, we're not going to be friends anymore. And then time passes, summer happens, and then you're back together, and all of a sudden it's, hey, how you doing? You're like, whoa, I thought we ended that. Like, whoa, that's scary.
Oh, wow.
And you can't engage. I think the only thing is
sweep it, pretend it didn't exist. The bad.
And this again is where like people are empowered by all these modes of technology, being able to reach out without having to really reach out. They can DM you, they can Insta you, they can text you. We're back in the day, if you wanted to like re-engage with a friend, like you would literally have to show up at their house. You would literally have to show up at their house and be like, I'm really sorry. Like, we're not friends anymore. I miss you. You don't call me. We don't see each other. Like now you can know what people are doing without being in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Which is horrifying.
I lost a friend for 16 years because the husband was not a fan.
I forgot about
mine.
that.
And it was a sad thing, but he was not a fan of me. And what are you going to do if you're the wife of the husband that's not a fan? And he didn't really even have a reason to not be a fan, but he was controlling. He was a power tripper, and we lived in different states, and it was sad. It really, I was upset that she wouldn't stick up for me and, go to great lengths to salvage our friendship, but it was her husband. And, you know, it was a shame, but our paths crossed again and we reconnected, and it was exactly the way it had always been. Like, we didn't skip a beat, and her husband actually had passed away. So it was ironic because we were given a fresh start and we have not looked back. We just have been back together again, you know, like we didn't skip a beat. It's amazing. So if there's forgiveness, I was capable of forgiving. I knew it wasn't because she didn't love me and care for me and want to be my friend anymore. It was a circumstance that was bizarre that I wasn't going to win, you know? So sometimes you have to walk away defeated.
Yeah, you gave her space.
I gave her space, and she didn't necessarily want it, but there was nothing that she could really do.
Mm-hmm.
Two of my other like closest friends, we had kids that were very, very close. And all of a sudden our kids weren't as close of friends anymore. And, you know, it could have been a deal breaker. And it was a hard situation because sometimes you feel like, okay, wait, we're best friends and our kids are family friends. So, you know, don't we want to try to massage things so that we're always good family friends? But, you know, at that point in time, it was the way that another parent chose to kind of deal with it. Hey, our kids don't have to be best friends, and I'm going to support that. Whereas I was kind of like, well, but we're best friends and let's just try to make them respect each other and stay together, because our relationship isn't going to go anywhere and they're going to eventually figure it out, which they have. But thankfully, I never made it about that other parent. She didn't make it about me. And I think we had maybe one, not even really awkward conversation, but it was a little bit, you know, weird. But we decided not to make it about us, and thank God. You know?
Well, and then you don't want it. You have the friends that, from what I hear, is they're great friends and their kids do sports together. And then you've probably had this, both of you. Your kids kick their other kids' ass and they're better athletes, and their parents are hanging on, living their life through their kids and their sports. And all of a sudden, their friends' kids are just escalating, getting better and better and better and better. And that person gets jealous and they turn off. And all of a sudden they start saying negative things about you and your family, and they start making things up. And you're like, wait a minute, just because my kids are better athletes than yours, keep sports aside. We're friends. We're good people. Like, why would you do that? And is that having the insecurities of the parents, or is it?
Definitely been there.
I'm sure, because your kids are.
You know what else is really hard? Like when you're in a club situation and now you're going to maybe look to D1 and you're getting recruited, and you were once an open book with all your people, and now you're a closed book because no one shares any information and no one wants anybody to know where their kids going and what coaches their kids talking to. And it affected another one of my friendships. You know, my child landed at a school that she did not try to engage with. She did not have she was not looking to go play lacrosse at Loyola or Hopkins in Maryland. They just happened to be two of the colleges that called right at, you know, midnight, September 1st. And when your other schools that you thought were going to call don't call, what do? You go to the place that you were shown love. Just so happened that two of those schools happened to be a couple of our closer friends' top choices. So now we're going to these schools that we didn't even flirt with, but they thought it was like a sneaky kind of covert situation, which it wasn't. And,
yeah, but people always are looking for a reason to justify.
I don't think we spoke for a year, maybe 2 years.
They're like, how about support? How about, hey, I love people's successes. I love when my friends' kids are dominating, or my friends get a job and then they get another job, or they get a whatever, anything that's positive. They win a race. I always am so supportive. I don't like hearing negativity. I hate when people talk behind people's.
Is the ugliest sin.
It's the worst. And it's like,
a deal breaker.
Hey, feel good. I want to feel good. There's enough negativity in the world right now that
you can't share your successes with like your closest friends. They're not your friends.
Agreed.
And they should be happy for you and you should be happy for them. And I mean, it's like an exciting two-way street.
Yeah.
And if you can't feel like you can share good news and not feel as though that person thinks you're braggadocious or that you're just, I don't even know, like on an ego trip. I mean, that's not my friend.
I was at Inlet Outlet, one of my favorite surf shops in Manasquan, which has closed. I'm very sad. Brave New World's going in there, but it's not the same experience. But I was in there talking to one of the ladies who works there, and we were just talking about whatever was happening that day. And she said, what really irritates me, I said, how's the day? She goes, it's just hard. Sometimes all these friends come in at separate times, and the next day they'll be in there with another friend, and they're bad mouthing the friend that they were with the day before, talking about, and just, it was so much bashing behind each other's backs at the shop. And she said, that's the one thing. Because I said, well, what bothers you the most? She said, so one thing I don't like is that you see these, I see these women come in, and the one was talking about their one son had won the Manasquan High. I won't, whatever. They had won one of the main events, like a big event they won. And the friend was, oh, great job. And the next day was bashing her. And it was said, wait, it was not what you were talking about yesterday, So it's
Jen's toxic friend is not getting the message here and keeps calling.
Actually, that was my mother. Sorry. She's the only one that can get through on my, she's in my, trusted contacts where she calls twice, it goes through.
And she's your friend. My mom's my best friend. I love my mom. Moms are best friends. Love you, Far. But we could talk forever about it. We just love it. And friends are good. I say just,
well, listen, let me tell you something.
Be straight up.
And it's not easy when you go through these challenging things. What I wanted to say about going back with Farley's girls being recruited, that angle, that just because you had to go through it, the college experience of people not talking about is off the charts insane. It is such a period of time where people get so weird about friendships, and even the kids don't talk about college because they're all trying to do it's more about insecurity, like you said. It's more about I'm not sure what's going to happen, and it's so competitive, and they don't want to let people know what they're thinking and but the whole process of anything that's got a little bit of ilk of where there's only a certain number of spots, I think that's where people get really whack.
Well, I mean, it's hard because sometimes you are supposed to keep things close, to the fold. And if you're an open book like me, I could see where all of a sudden, maybe a couple of the girls, the moms that I was very close with in the whole recruiting scheme of things, I didn't want to start talking about let's say Hopkins or Loyola, because I knew that was where their kids' top picks were.
Right.
And it made me feel badly.
Right. And you don't want to hurt them.
And you're
everything's going to happen the way it's going to, and you're going to do you, and I'm going to do me. And
at that moment, my kid wasn't happy.
Right.
So, we were going through our own stuff, but that's the thing that's hard. It's if you can't just be 100% honest, and you feel like you have to tiptoe through conversations and select the right words and really bite your tongue a lot of times, that's not exactly friendship in my definition.
Right. Me neither. Same. It's when they give you that empty pit in the stomach of, did I do something wrong? Why are they ignoring me? Why are they being mean? Why are they being dismissive? And that feeling in the bottom of your stomach of a pit of
it's if somebody steals a wallet in the room, you automatically feel guilty and it wasn't you.
Yeah, but
I can't stand the friend that makes me feel am I being a bad friend to you?
Yeah, but
have I let you down? What am I not doing for you? What are you not getting from me? Because I'm somebody that'll go I'll go all out for my people.
Yeah.
So if you start making me feel like I'm not doing enough for you, I didn't give you the shirt off my back and I'm not walking around naked on 35.
That'd be showstopper for sure. What's up? There's probably going naked.
And the other thing is that, for all of us with friendships, like Farley's example of her friend that was out of her life for a really long time, maybe it's just for now. Maybe it's somebody who you need to take a break from, and maybe you're on a break. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe the friendship's not over forever.
Listen,
they could come back into your life.
We continue to grow up a little bit.
Yes.
And I'm also the type of person where if I have to take a time out from somebody, I am absolutely capable of having them re-enter my life. As long as it's a mutual situation and it feels very natural, we just happen to stumble upon each other, or I'm thinking about that person and I pick up the phone and call. I just suffered a loss in my life. And of course, I went out to a friend that was a part of my entire life. And she was somebody that I wanted to inform that my mom had passed. And even though we might not have been exactly on the same page that we have been on before, it was a little bit of a conduit for us. So, I'm not somebody that wipes you out forever unless you really deserve that.
Oh, forget that. Yeah.
But, sometimes it's true. Sometimes it's just not working. And before it gets really, bad or ugly, you retreat or take a hiatus or whatever. And sometimes, maybe that toxicity is too toxic that you don't go back.
Yeah. Or you set some different boundaries and rules of engagement, right? Where you recognize that you can go do something athletic with this person. And like you said, you like them in that way.
Right.
But the social thing doesn't work, or the family vacation doesn't work because of whatever. Like you can compartmentalize your friendships, and there's nothing wrong with that.
You could make a pros and cons list.
Yeah.
See if the pros outweigh the cons. But like maybe, one of the cons is, okay, I don't feel like I can really share my deep secrets with her because she's a blabbermouth.
Right.
So you just know that you have to censor what you tell this person.
Or I might get arrested if I hang around or out with you because I'm never sure what's in your purse.
Or
wait, no, don't like me. I'm like, let's just go out and have some
or
fun.
Embarrassing behavior that becomes like a little too much,
Or they do shady things that you don't support, and that's
guilty by association.
One of my
real
friends.
Thing.
After a while, I realized her pattern in life, and quickly, I said, "That's not someone I want to be associated with." And the friendship just,
I think I know that person.
Yeah. So that friendship shut down fast. And I do every now and then. I remember, I think a couple months ago, I said, I wonder what she's doing. Like it just went into my brain. And then I said, I don't care.
Married men.
Yeah. So I cut that one right out of my life because I don't want to be associated with that. Believe me, I am so against any kind of cheating. And you could do anything. If you want to hook up, if my husband wants to hook up, he has to go. I'd rather him say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go get some booty from this person. And then you're not going to find out from someone else. I said, just tell me.
Homewrecker,
totally. I'll be gonzo. I'll be out. But, it's that honest thing. But it's great. Friends
you are who you hang with.
Yeah. And that's why I hang with you ladies.
Your vibe is your tribe.
And the show brought us together that every week we have weekly dates. Yay! And it's so fun. So everyone should go out there. And I think everyone, if you're listening, send some calls or texts to some of your old friends you haven't seen in a while or that you're thinking about.
Or do some spring cleaning because, if you've got some cobwebs and some toxicity that you are ready to, emancipate. Make it happen. It's nice because all of a sudden your date card is freed up. And instead of having that negative kind of like doom and gloomy vibe over here, you can fill it with meaningful, happy, great friendships.
Yeah. And sometimes when you make a pause, you may realize that you don't miss them. Oh. Or maybe you miss them, or maybe you miss them like completely. And you realize what they gave to you, even though you need to reassess your relationship. So sometimes just taking a break, maybe a little friend fast. I'm going to take a fasting opportunity to just separate myself from this person for a little bit and see where I sit, how I feel. If I have a question, there's certain people I could never do that with because I would know that immediately that I would miss them too much.
Oh, you could tell in a second if I'm like, how you doing? Great. You guys are like, what's
going on?
Because you can read me. Because you can read your friends. I'm sorry. I can read a lot of my friends. Totally. But this was fun to talk about.
It's so fun.
Clean springtime. Do some spring cleaning.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, on Girls Gone Gritty.
So much for tuning in on what day is today?
Doesn't matter. It's a podcast day.
Yeah.
It's a podcast day.
Thank you for listening and for joining Girls Gone Gritty. And please help us tip ourselves and tell a friend. And look at our titles and see what hits home. We just covered surrogacy and TikTok and FOMO. And so we've got something new that we are going to bring forward every week. And we hope that there's going to be a hook and grab that you're enticed by.
Yeah, we're excited to have you become one of our extra friends, and it would give you something to talk to your friends about. Maybe it's a topic that now opens the door for you. So we'd love to hear from you. So follow us every place you can. If you ever want to see a little bit more about us, you can always go on our website. We do take comments and we do take suggestions for new topics and ideas and things to cover. So engage us. We'd love to hear from you.
And we've got merch coming, really cool merch. So if you think you're gritty and you're a chick, you'll like our merch.
You could be a dude and wear a lot of my buddies wear the Girls Gone Gritty hats. Thanks, boys, for listening and representing.
Awesome.
All right.
Because their girls are gritty.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening.
Peace out.
Bye.
Whoop, whoop.